Self-discipline is your superpower. At the end of the day, your future is not controlled by luck, talent, or motivation. It is controlled by the small decisions you make when nobody is watching. Every time you choose discipline over excuses, you become stronger. Every time you stay focused instead of distracted, you build a better future. And every time you keep your word to yourself, your confidence grows a little more. Self-discipline is your superpower because it changes the way you think, act, live, and carry yourself every single day. It turns weak habits into strong routines. It turns doubt into confidence. It turns ordinary people into people who refuse to quit on themselves. Years from now, you will either thank yourself for becoming disciplined or regret wasting time on comfort, laziness, and excuses. That decision starts today. Come back to this audiobook whenever your mind feels tired, distracted, or unmotivated. Listen to it again until discipline becomes part of who you are. Because the strongest person in the room is not always the loudest one. It is the person who can control themselves when life gets hard. Chapter 1. Take control of your habits before your life falls apart. Self-discipline is not something only successful people are born with. It is something ordinary people decide to practice when they get tired of living the same painful day again and again. A person changes when they finally become honest with themselves. Not when life becomes easier, not when motivation. Real change begins when a person looks at their habits and realizes those habits are slowly destroying their future. Most people are not losing their lives in one big moment. They are losing their lives little by little every single day, waking up late, ignoring responsibilities, delaying important work, spending hours distracted, breaking promises to themselves, living without structure, repeating the same weak patterns until years disappear. That is how dreams die. Quietly, slowly, painfully, and the hardest part is this. People often know exactly what they should do. They know they should exercise. They know they should wake up earlier. They know they should stop wasting time. They know they should work harder on their goals. But knowing is not enough. Knowledge without action changes nothing. Your daily behavior shapes your future. Your repeated actions become your identity. A person who cannot control small habits eventually loses control over bigger parts of life. That is why discipline matters so much. Discipline protects your future before your life begins falling apart. It keeps you stable when emotions become heavy. It keeps you focused when distractions become stronger. It keeps you moving when your feelings tell you to stop. Think about how many people wake up every morning already feeling defeated. Their body feels tired before the day even begins. Their room feels heavy. Their mind feels noisy. They carry stress from unfinished tasks. They carry guilt from wasted time. They carry frustration because deep inside they know they are capable of more. That feeling not because they are weak people, but because they stopped controlling their habits. When a person stops respecting their own routine, they slowly stop respecting themselves. Every broken promise creates disappointment inside the mind. Every excuse weakens self-trust. Every delay makes discipline harder tomorrow. And after some time, people begin saying things like, "This is just who I am," but that is not true. Weak habits are not personality. They are repeated choices. Your future is built in ordinary moments. Nobody sees those moments except you. The moment you wake up and decide whether to get out of bed immediately or waste another hour. The moment you decide whether to work on your goal or scroll endlessly through distractions. The moment you decide whether to stay committed or quit because your emotions changed. Those moments shape your life more than big speeches and temporary motivation. Self-discipline is your superpower because it allows you to act even when you do not feel like acting. Anybody can work hard when they feel inspired. Anybody can stay focused for one day. But the people who truly transform their lives are the people who continue even when nobody is watching. Even when results are slow. Even when life feels unfair. Even when their body feels tired. A disciplined person understands something very important. Feelings change every day. Some mornings you feel confident. Some mornings you feel lost. Some days you feel strong. Some days you feel mentally exhausted. But discipline gives stability. It teaches you to stop depending on temporary emotions, because emotions cannot always be trusted. Some days your feelings will tell you to quit the very thing that could change your life. Many people destroy their future because they wait until they feel ready. They wait for motivation. They wait for confidence. They wait for the perfect moment. But life rewards action, not waiting. Action creates confidence. Action creates momentum. Action creates self-respect. You begin rebuilding your life when you stop negotiating with your bad habits. When your alarm rings and you get up immediately. When your work becomes more important than your excuses. When you stop saying tomorrow for things that matter today. Those small moments seem ordinary, but they are powerful because they build inner strength. And understand this clearly. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is self-respect. Discipline is choosing long-term peace over short-term comfort. Comfort feels good for a moment, but often creates pain later. Discipline feels difficult for a moment, but creates pride later. You cannot build a strong future while protecting weak habits. It does not work that way. Growth requires honesty. You must be honest about what is hurting your life. Maybe it is laziness. Maybe it is distraction. Maybe it is negative thinking. Maybe it is staying around people who drain your energy. Maybe it is constantly avoiding hard work. Whatever it is, you must face it directly. Most people want a better life, but refuse to create better routines. They want confidence without discipline. They want success without consistency. They want results without sacrifice. But every meaningful achievement demands responsibility. You cannot escape that truth. There will be days when discipline feels uncomfortable. Days when your mind says rest longer. Days when your body feels heavy. Days when progress feels invisible. But those are the moments that matter most. Because every time you continue despite discomfort, you become mentally stronger. Mental strength is not built through easy days. It is built when you continue through resistance. When you stay committed through frustration. When you keep your word to yourself, even when nobody would notice if you stopped. That is where self-respect grows. Without discipline, life becomes chaotic. Your mind becomes distracted. Your goals become unclear. Your energy becomes weak. But with discipline, your life gains direction. You stop reacting emotionally to every situation. You start becoming more intentional, more focused, more calm under pressure. You do not need to change your entire life overnight. That is where many people fail. They try to become perfect immediately. Real transformation happens step by step. One disciplined morning, one completed task, one healthy decision, 1 hour of focused work, one promise kept to yourself daily. Small actions repeated consistently create massive change over time. People often underestimate how quickly life improves when habits improve. Better sleeping, better focus improves your work. Better routines improve your confidence. Better discipline improves your peace of mind. Your entire emotional state changes when you stop living carelessly. Imagine waking up knowing you are finally becoming the person you promised yourself you would become. Imagine ending the day feeling proud instead of guilty. Imagine trusting yourself again. That feeling is powerful, and it begins with discipline. Nobody is coming to rescue your future. Nobody can build your habits for you. Nobody can force you to become stronger. At some point, every person must decide whether they will continue living controlled by excuses or controlled by purpose. The truth is simple. Your habits are either building your future or destroying it. Every day they are pushing your life in one direction, or there is no neutral path. Every action matters. You were not born to spend your life distracted, exhausted, and disappointed in yourself. You were born with the ability to grow, to improve, to become stronger mentally, emotionally, and physically. But none of that happens accidentally. Discipline must become part of your daily life. Start taking your habits seriously before your life begins falling apart completely. Stop ignoring the warning signs. Stop delaying your potential. Stop wasting years waiting to feel motivated. Build structure, build routines, build standards for yourself that force you to grow. Because once you master discipline, your mind becomes stronger, your confidence becomes real, your future becomes clearer. And slowly, the life that once felt impossible begins becoming your reality. Chapter 2. Force yourself to grow when nobody wants to struggle. Growth is uncomfortable for a reason. It forces you to face the parts of yourself you tried to avoid for years. It forces you to become honest about your habits, your mindset, your excuses, and your effort. Most people say they want a better life, but very few people truly want the pressure that comes with becoming better. Everybody wants confidence until confidence demands action. Everybody wants success until success demands sacrifice. Everybody wants change until change interrupts comfort. That is why so many people stay stuck in the same place year after year, not because they are incapable, not because they are cursed. They stay stuck because growth requires daily effort when nobody around you feels like trying anymore. It requires strength when people around you are settling. It requires discipline when others are wasting time. And many people become weak simply because they follow the energy of the crowd. You cannot build an exceptional life by thinking like tired people who gave up on themselves. You cannot become stronger while constantly surrounding your mind with excuses, laziness, negativity, and low standards. Growth demands separation, not from people completely, but from unhealthy behavior that slowly destroys ambition. There are moments in life when you realize you are thinking differently from the people around you. You start noticing how easily people quit, how quickly they complain, how often they waste hours doing things that add nothing to their future. And sometimes you begin feeling pressure to slow down because disciplined people often make comfortable people uncomfortable. A person who works hard consistently reminds others of what they are avoiding. A person who wakes up early reminds others of their wasted mornings. A focused person reminds distracted people of their lack of control. That is why some people criticize growth instead of respecting it. They want comfort protected more than they want truth exposed. You must become strong enough to continue growing even when support disappears. Even when nobody claps for your progress, even when your effort goes unnoticed for a long time. Because real growth is deeply personal, it happens in silence before it becomes visible publicly. There will be mornings where your body feels heavy and your mind feels tired, but you still get up and handle your responsibilities. There will be nights where nobody checks your effort, nobody encourages you, nobody rewards you immediately, but you still continue improving yourself. Those moments build character. Those moments separate dreamers from disciplined people. Weak habits spread quickly in groups. One lazy mindset influences another. One excuse creates more excuses. One negative person can drain motivation from an entire environment. That is why protecting your mindset matters so much. Your environment influences your standards more than you realize. If you spend enough time around people who avoid responsibility, eventually responsibility starts feeling abnormal. If you constantly hear people complain about hard work, eventually effort starts feeling unfair. If you spend years around people who settle for average, eventually your own ambition starts becoming smaller. That is why personal growth sometimes feels lonely, because while others relax, you are trying to improve. While others waste weekends, you are thinking about your future. While others avoid discomfort, you are trying to build mental toughness. Growth often requires you to move differently before your results finally speak for themselves. And understand this clearly, nobody becomes mentally strong accidentally. Strength is developed through resistance, through consistency, through repeated effort during uncomfortable moments. Every difficult day carries an opportunity to become more disciplined, emotionally stable, and focused. There are people right now wasting their potential because they only act when they feel ready. They wait for energy. They wait for confidence. They wait for perfect conditions. Meanwhile, disciplined people continue improving through imperfect situations. They continue despite stress, despite pressure, despite uncertainty. Life does not reward comfort for long. Comfort feels safe temporarily, but eventually it creates regret. Because deep inside, every human being knows when they are avoiding growth. That feeling follows people quietly. It shows up when they look at missed opportunities. It appears when they realize years passed, but nothing changed. It hurts when they understand they had more potential than the life they settled for. You must learn how to force yourself forward during difficult seasons. Not emotionally destroy yourself, not hate yourself, but train yourself to keep moving, even when progress feels slow. Real growth often happens long before visible results appear. There are days where your mind will try convincing you to stop. It will tell you rest longer, delay the work, skip the responsibility, take the easy option. And in those moments your future is being... Every time you choose discipline over excuses, your mind becomes stronger. Every time you continue despite discomfort, your confidence grows deeper. Every time you refuse to quit, you build proof that you can rely on yourself during difficult moments. Most people underestimate how powerful self-trust really is. A person who trusts themselves becomes calmer under pressure, more focused during chaos, more stable emotionally, because they know they can handle hard situations without collapsing mentally. But self-trust cannot be built through endless excuses. You build self-trust by keeping your word to yourself repeatedly, by following through when nobody forces you, by maintaining standards even during difficult days. There are people who speak beautifully about goals, but secretly lack discipline privately, and eventually reality exposes everyone. Your habits always reveal the truth about your priorities. Your actions always expose your standards. Growth requires honesty with yourself. Honest about your distractions. Honest about your wasted time. Honest about your inconsistent effort. Honest about the habits slowly weakening your future. Until you become honest, nothing changes permanently. A person who avoids growth often creates stories to protect comfort. They blame circumstances constantly. They blame other people. They blame timing. They blame stress. But deep inside, many people know the truth. They know they stopped pushing themselves. They know they became comfortable staying the same. You must refuse to live that way. Refuse to become a person controlled by convenience. Refuse to lower your standards because other people lowered theirs. Refuse to waste years pretending you still have unlimited time. Time moves whether you improve or not. Days continue passing whether you grow or not. That truth should wake something up inside you, because life changes quickly. Opportunities disappear. Energy changes, people change, and one day you will either feel proud of how you handled your years or deeply frustrated by how much time was wasted. There will always be people who choose easier paths, people who avoid responsibility, people who laugh at effort, people who waste their abilities, but you cannot allow their mindset to influence your direction. Your future deserves more than temporary comfort. Your goals deserve more than half effort. Your life deserves more than endless procrastination and excuses. You were not created to spend years watching your potential slowly disappear. Some of the strongest people in the world are not naturally fearless. They simply learned how to continue through discomfort longer than others. They trained themselves to stay focused during pressure. They became disciplined enough to keep going when emotions became unstable. That is what separates powerful people from weak mindsets. Not perfection, not talent. Consistency. emotional control, persistence, responsibility. And there is something beautiful about becoming disciplined quietly. You begin respecting yourself differently. Your posture changes, your energy changes, your focus becomes sharper, your decisions improve. You stop needing constant approval because your confidence starts coming from your actions, not outside validation. People begin noticing something different about you, not because you talk more, but because you carry yourself differently. You become calmer, more intentional, less distracted, more dependable, stronger mentally, and all of that begins when you decide growth matters more than comfort. Force yourself to grow, while others stay trapped in excuses. Force yourself to improve, while others waste years complaining. Force yourself to become mentally stronger, while others avoid discomfort. Because one day the disciplined life you build quietly will create freedom, peace, confidence, and opportunities that weak habits could never produce. And years from now you will either thank yourself for pushing through difficult seasons, or regret the moments where comfort became more important than your future. Chapter 3. Get up every day and prove yourself through actions. Every morning your life asks you one important question. Are you serious about becoming better, or are you only talking about it? That question is answered by your actions long before it is answered by your words. Because words are easy, promises are easy, dreams are easy, but getting up every day with responsibility, focus, and discipline is what truly separates. A person can speak confidently about success for years and still remain stuck in the same place. Another person can stay quiet and slowly build an entirely different life through daily effort. The difference is not intelligence. The difference is action. Life responds to movement, not wishes, not excuses, not endless planning without execution. There are many people carrying beautiful goals inside their minds, but their daily behavior does not support those goals at all. They want respect but avoid responsibility. They want confidence but constantly quit on themselves. They want financial freedom but waste valuable hours every day. They want peace but continue feeding habits that create stress and regret. You cannot become proud of yourself through imagination alone. Pride comes from effort, from progress, from knowing you handled your responsibilities even when your emotions were unstable. A person begins changing internally when they stop looking for quick motivation and start proving themselves through consistent behavior. Most people are waiting for something external to change their lives. They wait for opportunity, they wait for support, they wait for energy, but real transformation begins internally. It begins the moment you stop asking life to carry you and start carrying yourself with more discipline. When you wake up every morning, you immediately face a choice. You can continue operating like the old version of yourself, or you can start behaving like the person you claim you want to become. That decision happens quietly. Nobody sees it, nobody applauds it. But it shapes your future more than almost anything else. The way you begin your mornings affects your mindset for the rest of the day. If your mornings begin with delay, confusion, distraction, and laziness, your entire day often feels unorganized. Your energy becomes scattered. Your focus weakens. Your discipline slowly disappears. But when you wake up with purpose, your mind becomes clearer. Your confidence becomes stronger because your actions start matching your intentions. A disciplined morning creates emotional stability. You stop feeling like life is controlling you. Instead, you begin feeling more in control of yourself. That feeling matters deeply because many people are mentally exhausted from constantly disappointing themselves. There are people who cannot trust themselves anymore because they broke too many promises privately. They said they would change but repeated the same behavior. They said they would become more focused but continued wasting time. They said they would work harder but stayed trapped inside comfort. Over time, self-respect becomes damaged when actions stop matching words. That is why daily action matters so much. Every completed task rebuilds confidence. Every disciplined decision repairs self-trust. Every productive day reminds you that change is still possible. You do not become stronger by thinking about growth constantly. You become stronger through movement. Some people underestimate the emotional power of small victories: waking up on time, finishing your responsibilities, exercising consistently, staying focused during work, keeping your environment clean, following your routine even when nobody forces you. Those actions may look ordinary from the outside, but internally they change how you see yourself. A person who handles small responsibilities will eventually becomes capable of handling bigger opportunities. But people who avoid small responsibilities often struggle when life becomes more demanding. Discipline prepares you for pressure before pressure arrives. And understand something clearly. Your future is watching your current behavior carefully. The habits you repeat today are quietly building the life you will experience later. Your daily routine is not just a schedule, it is preparation for the person you are becoming. There is a dangerous habit many people develop. They become addicted to talking instead of doing. They announce goals publicly but privately avoid effort. They love inspiration but resist structure. They enjoy dreaming but avoid consistency. Eventually frustration grows because deep inside they know they are capable of more. You do not need to constantly tell people your plans. Your actions should speak loudly enough. Real discipline does not beg for attention. It simply shows up every day and handles the work. Think about the emotional difference between ending your day with progress compared to ending your day with regret. One feeling gives peace. The other creates disappointment. A productive day creates calmness because your mind knows you moved forward. But wasted days create inattention because your mind knows valuable time was ignored. Time is one of the few things life never returns. That truth should make you more intentional with your days. Every hour matters, every decision matters, every repeated habit matters. Life changes gradually through repeated daily behavior. There are people right now who feel emotionally stuck because they lost momentum completely. They stopped challenging themselves. They stopped learning. Their life became repetitive. Wake up late, waste time. Avoid responsibility, repeat. That pattern slowly destroys excitement for life itself. Human beings need progress emotionally. People feel better about themselves when they know they are growing. Even small improvement creates hope. Even small discipline creates confidence, but stagnation creates emotional heaviness. Deep down, nobody enjoys feeling unproductive for long. Some mornings you will feel mentally sharp. Other mornings your body may feel tired, and your thoughts may feel slow, but disciplined people continue showing up anyway because success is not built only on your best days. It is built on the days where continuing feels inconvenient. A person who only works hard during easy moments never reaches their full potential. Strength develops when you continue through resistance. When you finish tasks despite distractions. When you remain committed despite pressure. Those moments develop maturity and emotional control. And emotional control matters more than many people realize. A person who cannot control emotions often destroys consistency. One bad mood ruins their focus. One difficult situation destroys their routine. One stressful moment makes them quit completely. But disciplined people learn how to continue responsibly without allowing every emotion to control their behavior. That does not mean ignoring emotions completely. It means refusing to become controlled by temporary feelings. Because feelings change constantly, discipline gives structure when emotions become unstable. Honesty with yourself is necessary if you truly want growth. Many people avoid this because honesty feels uncomfortable initially. But honesty creates freedom. Once you stop lying to yourself about your habits, you finally gain the power to improve them. You were not created to live every day feeling weak, distracted, and disconnected from your own potential. There is more strength inside you than you currently realize, but strength must be developed intentionally. Nobody accidentally becomes disciplined, focused, and mentally strong. Every day is another opportunity to prove something important to yourself, not to the world, not to social media, not to strangers. Prove that you can stay committed. Prove that you can handle responsibility maturely. Prove that your future matters enough to deserve real effort. The beautiful thing about discipline is that it slowly changes your entire identity. At first, the work feels difficult because your habits fight against change. But over time, disciplined behavior begins feeling natural. Your standards rise. Your mindset becomes sharper. Your confidence stops depending on outside approval because your actions create internal stability. And eventually you begin carrying yourself differently, not with arrogance. With certainty, you stop doubting every decision. You stop needing constant motivation. You stop wasting energy explaining your goals to people who do not understand your vision. Your focus becomes stronger because your life. There is something powerful about knowing you earned your progress honestly. No shortcuts, no pretending, no false image. Just real effort repeated consistently. That creates confidence nobody can take away from you. Get up every day understanding that your future is being shaped right now. Not next year, not someday, right now. The person you become depends on what you repeatedly do. If you continue proving yourself through action, eventually, your entire life begins reflecting the discipline you practiced privately. One disciplined day may not completely transform your life immediately, but thousands of disciplined days absolutely will. Chapter 4. Stay disciplined when your feelings tell you quit today. There are days when your mind feels tired before the day even begins. Days when your body feels heavy. Days when frustration sits quietly inside your chest and steals your energy little by little. On those days, your feelings will try to convince you that stopping is the best option. Your emotions will whisper things like skip it today, or rest a little longer, or you can start again tomorrow. And many people lose years of progress because they listen to temporary feelings too often. Feelings are real, but they are not always wise. A bad mood can make a strong person doubt themselves. Stress can make simple tasks feel impossible. Fear can make opportunities feel dangerous. Pressure can make disciplined people question their direction. That is why emotional control matters so much. If you cannot stay disciplined during difficult emotional moments, your progress will constantly break apart. A person who only works hard when life feels comfortable will never reach their highest potential. Because life does not move according to your emotions. Responsibilities still exist when you feel tired. Goals still matter when motivation disappears. Your future still depends on your actions, even during emotionally difficult seasons. Many people make the mistake of believing successful individuals feel motivated all the time. That is not true. Disciplined people experience doubt, exhaustion, frustration, and emotional pressure, just like everyone else. The difference is they learned how to continue without allowing emotions to control every decision. Think about how dangerous emotions become when they are left unmanaged. One stressful day can create careless choices. One painful moment can destroy consistency. One emotional reaction can damage relationships, opportunities, and self-respect. People often ruin progress, not because they lack ability, but because they lose control during temporary emotional storms. You must learn how to separate feelings from responsibility. Some mornings you will wake up excited and focused. Other mornings your thoughts may feel negative and scattered, but discipline means your standards remain steady even when your emotions are unstable. This is where real maturity begins. Maturity is not age, it is emotional responsibility. It is understanding that your feelings cannot always lead your life, because feelings change constantly. If your decisions change every time your emotions change, your life will become chaotic. There are people who quit dreams they deeply cared about, simply because they experienced temporary emotional discomfort. They stopped trying because progress felt slow. They walked away because pressure became uncomfortable. They abandoned routines because discipline felt exhausting. Years later, many of those people carry quiet regret because they allowed temporary emotions to create permanent consequences. Your feelings can lie to you during hard moments. Exhaustion may tell you that you are incapable when you are actually growing. Fear may tell you to avoid opportunities that could improve your life. Frustration may convince you that progress is pointless when real change is already happening slowly. That is why discipline is your superpower. It protects your future from emotional inconsistency. It keeps you moving when your feelings become unreliable. It keeps structure inside your life when your mind feels overwhelmed. There will be moments where quitting feels emotionally easier than continuing. Moments where comfort feels more attractive than responsibility. Moments where distractions seem more enjoyable than focused work. But you must remember something important. Every time you choose discipline during emotional discomfort, you become stronger mentally. Mental toughness is built through repeated moments of emotional resistance. Not through perfect circumstances, not through easy days, through difficult moments where continuing requires effort. Avoiding discomfort may feel good temporarily, but eventually reality demands payment. Missed goals create disappointment. Wasted time creates frustration. Ignored responsibilities create pressure. Discipline may feel uncomfortable in the moment, but regret often hurts far longer. You cannot build a strong life while constantly obeying every emotional impulse. Sometimes your mind will want distraction when you need focus. Sometimes your emotions will crave comfort when growth requires effort. Sometimes your feelings will tell you to stop, while your future desperately needs you to continue. A disciplined person understands this internal battle clearly. They know some days require emotional strength more than physical energy. They know that continuing through emotional resistance creates deep inner confidence. There is something powerful about finishing responsibilities during days where your feelings told you not to even try. Those moments change your relationship with yourself. You stop seeing yourself as emotionally weak. You stop believing every negative thought immediately. You begin realizing you are stronger than temporary emotions. And that realization changes everything, because once you understand that feelings do not control your identity anymore, your confidence grows differently. Your confidence stops depending on mood. It stops depending on outside approval. It starts coming from evidence that you can remain disciplined during hard situations. Most people never experience this kind of confidence because they constantly surrender to emotional discomfort. They quit too quickly. They escape pressure too early. They look for relief instead of resilience. Imagine a person waking up overwhelmed, stressed, and mentally exhausted, but still choosing to handle responsibilities with maturity. That person is building emotional strength quietly. Nobody may notice immediately, but internally, something powerful is happening. They are teaching themselves that difficult feelings cannot completely control their behavior anymore. That lesson creates freedom. A person controlled by emotions often feels trapped. One bad day ruins their productivity. One negative comment destroys their confidence. One setback completely changes their mindset. But emotionally disciplined people recover faster because they understand emotions are temporary experiences, not permanent truths. You must stop treating every difficult feeling like a command. Feeling tired does not always mean stop. Feeling afraid does not always mean avoid. Feeling uncertain does not always mean quit. Sometimes those feelings simply mean you are growing through uncomfortable terror. There are moments where your emotions will desperately try pulling you back toward old behaviors, back toward procrastination, back toward distraction, back toward laziness. back toward avoiding responsibility. But every time you resist those patterns, your mind becomes stronger. Strength is not built in one dramatic moment. It develops through repeated disciplined choices during ordinary, difficult days. The days where nobody encourages you, the days where progress feels invisible, the days where your emotions feel heavy, but you still continue acting responsibly. Those are the days that shape your future. Many people underestimate how much emotional discipline affects every area of life. Relationships improve when emotional reactions become calmer. Careers improve when consistency becomes stronger. Health improves when discipline becomes more stable. Financial situations improve when impulsive decisions decrease. A disciplined mind creates a more stable life overall. You must become someone who can pause during emotional moments and still choose wisely. That ability will protect your future in ways you cannot fully understand yet. There is no perfect person walking through life without emotional struggle. Everybody faces inner battles privately. Everybody experiences moments of doubt, fear, stress, and emotional exhaustion. But disciplined people refuse to let those moments define their entire direction. They understand one difficult day does not mean failure. One emotional setback does not erase progress. One bad mood does not need to destroy consistency. That mindset creates emotional endurance, and emotional endurance is one of the most valuable forms of strength a person can develop, because life is not always predictable. There will be unexpected challenges, painful disappointments, and mentally exhausting situations. During those moments, your ability to remain disciplined becomes incredibly important. You cannot control every situation life brings, but you can train yourself to respond more responsibly. That is real power, not pretending emotions do not exist, not becoming cold or disconnected. Real power is feeling difficult emotions and still making disciplined decisions anyway. There is a version of you that becomes stronger every time you continue despite emotional resistance. A version of you becoming calmer, wiser, more focused, and more dependable. That version is created through consistency during difficult moments, not through easy, comfortable days. Stay disciplined, especially when your feelings tell you to quit, because your emotions may change tomorrow, but the consequences of quitting too early can follow you for years. Chapter 5. Protect your future by fixing your weakest daily behaviors. Your future is not destroyed in one dramatic moment. Most of the time it is damaged quietly through small behaviors repeated every single day. The dangerous part is many people ignore these behaviors because they seem harmless in the moment. Wasting 1 hour does not feel serious. Skipping one responsibility does not feel dangerous. Staying distracted for one evening does not feel life-changing. But when weak habits become daily patterns, they slowly shape an unhealthy future. A person's life is built from repeated behavior, not from random moments of inspiration, not from temporary motivation. Your routine reveals where your life is going. Your daily actions expose what kind of future you are creating for yourself. There are people who dream about success while protecting habits that destroy progress every day. They stay awake too late. They wake up without purpose. They spend more time escaping reality than improving it. They avoid difficult tasks. They constantly delay then they wonder why life feels frustrating and heavy. Weak behaviors create emotional pressure over time. Your mind notices when you waste your own potential. Your body notices when you neglect your health. Your confidence notices when you repeatedly avoid responsibility. Eventually, stress begins growing because deep inside you know your habits are pulling your life in the wrong direction. One of the most important moments in personal growth happens when a person stops blaming outside circumstances and starts examining their own behavior honestly. That level of honesty changes everything, because many people spend years focusing on problems outside themselves, while ignoring the habits inside themselves, causing damage daily. It takes courage to look at your own patterns clearly, to admit that some behaviors are, to recognize that certain routines are draining your energy, confidence, peace, and focus. But until you face those behaviors directly, nothing changes permanently. Your weakest daily habits deserve serious attention because they are quietly deciding your future for you. Every repeated distraction steals time from your goals. Every lazy decision weakens self-respect. Every avoided responsibility builds pressure inside your life. Some people are emotionally exhausted not because life is impossible, but because their habits are creating unnecessary chaos. Their environment is unorganized, their sleep is unhealthy, their focus is broken, their priorities constantly change, their routines lack structure. All of that creates mental exhaustion over time. Discipline creates stability because disciplined people stop living carelessly. They become intentional about how they spend their time, energy, and attention. They understand that careless habits eventually create painful consequences. There are people waking up every day already overwhelmed because they never fix the small behaviors damaging their lives quietly. Their finances became stressful because of repeated impulsive choices. Their health became weak because of years of neglect. Their confidence disappeared because they stopped keeping promises to themselves. Their relationships became unhealthy because they avoided emotional responsibility. Everything grows through repetition. Positive habits strengthen your future. Negative habits weaken it. You cannot build a peaceful life while feeding destructive routines every day. Eventually, those habits begin affecting your emotions, your mindset, your relationships, and your opportunities. That is why protecting your future starts with correcting your weakest behaviors immediately, instead of waiting until damage becomes severe. Many people know exactly what habits are hurting them. They know what they need to stop doing. But they continue anyway because change feels uncomfortable at first. Breaking unhealthy patterns requires awareness, discipline, and patience. And patience matters because weak habits are rarely fixed overnight. A person who spent years living distracted, emotionally reactive, or irresponsible cannot expect instant transformation. Real growth requires daily correction, daily awareness, daily effort. You must become someone who notices harmful patterns quickly, instead of ignoring them for years. Maybe you waste too much time online. Maybe you constantly procrastinate important work. Maybe you avoid difficult conversations. Maybe you overthink instead of taking action. Maybe you spend energy complaining instead of improving. Whatever your weak behaviors are, they deserve immediate attention because time magnifies repeated actions. Small bad habits eventually become strong patterns if they are left unchecked. That is why discipline requires self-observation. You must pay attention to how you live daily, not just what you hope for emotionally. Many people have beautiful goals but destructive routines. And routines always win eventually because your habits control your direction more than your intentions do. You cannot constantly sabotage yourself privately and expect a powerful future publicly. One weak behavior repeated for years can completely change the direction of a life. Think about that carefully. One unhealthy routine practiced consistently can damage opportunities, relationships, confidence, health, and emotional stability. That is how serious habits truly are. And understand something important. Weak habits often grow strongest during moments of emotional discomfort. People waste time to avoid stress. People overeat to escape emotions. People procrastinate because responsibility feels overwhelming. People distract themselves because silence forces them to confront their reality. That is why fixing behavior requires emotional maturity too. You must learn how to face discomfort directly instead of constantly escaping through unhealthy habits. A disciplined person learns how to pause before reacting automatically. They become more aware of their choices, more conscious of their environment, more intentional with their energy. Instead of living on autopilot, they begin living with purpose. And purpose changes behavior naturally. Because when your future matters deeply to you, careless habits become less attractive. You stop wanting temporary pleasure that creates long-term frustration. You stop enjoying distractions that weaken your goals. You stop protecting routines that damage your peace. If behavior created the problem, then behavior can also create the solution. That truth should give you hope, because no matter how long weak habits controlled your life, you still have the ability to rebuild yourself step by step. One better choice at a time. One healthier routine at a time. One disciplined decision at a time. Progress begins when you stop accepting weak behavior as normal, when you stop saying, "This is just how I am," when you stop excusing habits that damage your future. Growth demands higher standards from yourself. You deserve routines that support your goals instead of destroying them quietly. You deserve a life with more structure, more focus, more stability, and more self-respect. But those things are built through behavior, not wishful thinking. There are people with incredible potential living far below what they are capable of simply because they never corrected their habits. Talent alone cannot save undisciplined behavior. Intelligence alone cannot protect a careless lifestyle. Potential means very little without daily discipline. And one of the saddest things in life is watching people waste abilities they were fully capable of developing. Do not become one of those people. Do not spend years repeating patterns you already know are damaging your future. Do not keep feeding behaviors that leave you emotionally drained, mentally distracted, and disappointed in yourself. Your future self is depending on the decisions you make right now. Not next month, not someday, right now. And remember this clearly. Fixing your habits is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming more responsible with your own life. Some days will still feel difficult. Some moments will still test your discipline. But growth happens when you continue correcting yourself instead of surrendering to old patterns again. A person becomes powerful when they stop needing constant reminders to do what is right for their future. When discipline becomes personal instead of forced. When responsibility becomes part of identity instead of temporary motivation. That is real maturity. Not talking beautifully about change. Living differently consistently. Your daily behavior creates your future quietly. Every focused hour matters. Every healthy choice matters. Every responsible action matters. Every disciplined routine matters. You may not notice dramatic results immediately, but your life is always responding to your repeated behavior. Slowly your mind changes. Slowly your confidence returns. Slowly your emotional state improves. Slowly your future becomes stronger because your habits become stronger. Protect your future seriously, because life moves quickly. Years pass faster than people expect, and one day you will either feel proud that you corrected your weaknesses early, or deeply frustrated that you ignored them too long. The good news is you still have time to change direction. But change begins with behavior, not excuses. Chapter 6. Make hard choices now before regret controls your future. Life becomes painful when people continue avoiding difficult decisions they already know must be made. Deep inside, most people already know what needs to change. They know what habits are hurting them. They know which distractions are wasting their future. They know which environments are draining their energy. They know which behaviors are destroying their confidence quietly. But instead of facing those truths directly, many people delay action until regret becomes heavier than discipline. Regret is one of the heaviest emotional burdens a person can carry, not because of failure alone, but because of avoided potential, because of opportunities ignored, because of years wasted living beneath your capabilities. There is a special kind of pain that comes from realizing you had enough time, enough ability, and enough chances to build a different life. But you kept choosing comfort instead of responsibility. Hard choices are uncomfortable in the beginning, but they often protect your future. Easy choices feel comfortable in the beginning, but many times they create suffering later. That is why disciplined people understand something very important. Temporary discomfort is often necessary for long-term peace. There are people right now living with financial stress because they avoided discipline years earlier. There are people carrying emotional pain because they stayed too long inside unhealthy relationships. There are people filled with frustration because they spent too much time procrastinating instead of building their future. Life always responds to repeated decisions. The difficult truth is this: every choice carries a price. Discipline has a price. Responsibility has a price. Growth has a price, but regret also has a price. And for many people, regret becomes far more painful because it follows them for years. You must become brave enough to choose what is difficult now. If it protects the quality of that, may mean waking up earlier when your body wants more comfort. That may mean staying focused while others waste time carelessly. That may mean separating yourself from environments that weaken your mindset. That may mean saying no to distractions that steal your attention and energy. Growth requires difficult decisions because your future cannot improve while your standards stay low. Many people keep waiting for life to force change on them instead of choosing change willingly. They wait until their health becomes serious before taking care of themselves. They wait until relationships collapse before learning emotional responsibility. They wait until opportunities disappear before taking discipline seriously. But wisdom means correcting yourself before life punishes you repeatedly. A mature person learns how to make necessary decisions early instead of delaying everything emotionally. Because delay creates pressure. Delay creates stress. Delay creates missed opportunities. Delay slowly weakens confidence, because your mind notices when you constantly avoid responsibility. There are moments where you already know the right decision, but your emotions resist it. That internal conflict happens to everyone. Part of you wants growth, while another part wants comfort. Part of you wants discipline, while another part wants convenience. Part of you wants change, while another part fears discomfort. That battle decides the direction of your life. Weak decisions repeated daily slowly create weak lives. A person becomes careless, one choice at a time, distracted one choice at a time, undisciplined one choice at a time. But strength is also built one choice at a time. Confidence grows through responsible decisions, repeated consistently. Your future changes when your standards change. There comes a point where you must stop asking whether something feels easy, and start asking whether it is right for your future. Because some decisions feel uncomfortable emotionally, but are absolutely necessary for growth. There are times where discipline means protecting your long-term goals instead of satisfying temporary emotions. Sometimes discipline means turning off distractions and sitting alone with your responsibilities. Sometimes discipline means handling difficult conversations honestly. Sometimes discipline means sacrificing short-term entertainment for long-term progress. And understand this clearly: hard choices develop inner strength. Every time you choose responsibility over comfort, your self-respect grows stronger. Every time you refuse distractions, your focus becomes sharper. Every time you choose discipline despite emotional resistance, your confidence becomes deeper. Most people think confidence appears first and action comes later. But real confidence often grows after difficult actions are completed. You trust yourself more when you see yourself making responsible decisions repeatedly. There is something powerful about becoming the kind of person who handles difficult situations maturely instead of avoiding them constantly. That kind of emotional stability changes your entire life. You stop running from pressure. You stop collapsing during stress. You stop needing everything to feel comfortable before taking action. Many people secretly suffer because they built lives around comfort instead of growth. They avoid challenge so much that even small responsibilities begin feeling overwhelming. Their discipline becomes weak because they train themselves to escape discomfort instead of facing it directly. But life becomes stronger when you become stronger. That is why difficult decisions matter so much. They train your character. They increase emotional maturity. They prepare you for greater responsibility and greater opportunities. Imagine two different futures. One future where you continue avoiding hard decisions. Years pass, the same habits remain, the same excuses continue, the same distractions control your focus. Deep down, frustration grows because you know you settled for less than you were capable of becoming. Now imagine a future where you finally choose discipline consistently. You face responsibilities directly. You remove habits damaging your life. You stop delaying important changes. Slowly, your confidence improves. Your focus sharpens. Your emotional state becomes calmer because your actions finally align with your goals. Those futures are shaped by the choices you make daily. Weak decisions create emotional chains. Strong decisions create growth. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing they still have endless time to change. Time moves faster than people expect. Months disappear quickly. Years disappear quickly. And eventually people wake up realizing they delayed growth for too long. That realization hurts deeply because many opportunities never fully return. Once ignored repeatedly, you cannot afford to live carelessly with your future. Your potential deserves protection. Your dreams deserve discipline. Your goals deserve real commitment, not temporary effort. There are moments where you must choose between immediate comfort and future pride. Those moments define character. Those moments reveal maturity. Because successful people are not people who avoid difficult decisions. They are people who make necessary decisions before regret forces them to. Regret changes people emotionally. It creates sadness, frustration, disappointment, and self-blame. Especially when people realize they ignored their own potential for too long. That emotional pain becomes difficult. Because deep inside they know things could have been different if they acted earlier. You still have the opportunity to choose differently. You still have time to become more disciplined, more focused, more responsible, more intentional with your life. But that transformation requires difficult decisions. Now, not someday. Sometimes the decision is simple, but emotionally uncomfortable. Turning off distractions and focusing on work, going to sleep earlier instead of wasting the night. Exercising when your body feels lazy. Studying when entertainment feels easier. Saving money instead of spending carelessly. Choosing growth instead of convenience. Those moments may seem small, but they shape identity over time. Identity is built through repeated decisions. Your actions teach your mind who you are becoming. Every disciplined choice tells your mind you are serious about growth. Every responsible action builds evidence that you can trust yourself. And self-trust changes everything emotionally. A person who trusts more focused during pressure, more resilient during challenges, because they know they can rely on their own decisions. Do not wait until life becomes painful enough to force change. Choose growth before regret becomes your daily emotional reality. Choose discipline before disappointment steals your peace. Choose responsibility before wasted years become heavy on your mind. Hard choices may challenge you temporarily, but they often save your future permanently. And one day you will look back at the difficult decisions you made with gratitude because they protected you from becoming a person filled with regret, frustration, and unrealized potential. Chapter 7. Discipline your mind until success becomes part of your identity. Success is not something you chase for a few days and suddenly keep forever. Real success becomes stable only when discipline changes the way you think, live, and behave every single day. Many people want successful results, but still carry undisciplined habits, careless thinking, and weak emotional control. That is why they build momentum for a short time, then return to old patterns, because their identity never truly changed. Your mind controls your life more than you realize. The way you think affects your decisions. Your decisions affect your habits. Your habits affect your future. If your mind lacks discipline, your life eventually becomes distracted, inconsistent, and emotionally unstable. But when your mind becomes focused, disciplined, and intentional, your entire direction begins changing. Most people spend years training their mind for comfort instead of growth. They train themselves to seek easy entertainment, quick pleasure, and constant distraction. They become impatient with effort. They become emotionally weak during pressure. They struggle to focus because their mind became addicted to instant comfort instead of meaningful progress. A disciplined mind operates differently. It learns how to stay focused longer. It learns how to remain calm during stress. It learns how to continue working even when emotions feel unstable. That type of mental strength creates a completely different quality of life. There are people who sabotage their own future because their mind lacks structure. One negative thought destroys their confidence. One difficult situation ruins their consistency. One failure makes them question their entire ability. Their emotions control them because they never developed inner discipline. Mental discipline is not about pretending life is easy. It is about training yourself to think clearly even when life feels difficult. It is about controlling your reactions instead of reacting emotionally to everything around you. It is about refusing to let temporary thoughts decide permanent actions. Your identity is built through repetition. Whatever you repeatedly think and repeatedly do eventually becomes normal to you. If you constantly repeat weak habits, weak thinking and emotional excuses, your identity slowly becomes attached to limitation. But if you repeatedly practice focus, consistency, and responsibility, your identity begins changing towards strength and success. This is why discipline matters deeply. It transforms success from something temporary into something natural. There are people who experience short moments of improvement, but quickly return to old behavior because they never trained their mind properly. They depended on motivation instead of mental discipline. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline stays steady when emotions fluctuate. A disciplined mind understands something important. Feelings are temporary, but identity becomes permanent through repeated action. Every focused decision strengthens your mindset. Every responsible habit changes how you see yourself. Every disciplined day teaches your brain a new standard for how life should be lived. Many people want confidence, but they never discipline their thoughts. Their mind constantly feeds negativity, fear, doubt, and excuses. Then they wonder why their energy feels low and their progress feels weak. Your mind cannot produce a strong life while constantly repeating weak thoughts internally. You must become aware of the conversations happening inside your own mind, because those conversations shape behavior quietly. A person who constantly tells themselves they are lazy eventually behaves lazily. A person who constantly repeats negative beliefs begins acting according to those beliefs. That is why mental discipline starts with awareness. You must stop feeding your mind thoughts that destroy your confidence and direction. Stop speaking to yourself carelessly. Stop mentally rehearsing failure every day. Stop expecting disappointment before you even try. Your thoughts create emotional patterns. Emotional patterns create behavioral patterns. Behavioral patterns create identity, and identity controls results. There are moments where your mind will try pulling you backwards toward old habits. It will remind you of past failures. It will create fear around growth. It will encourage comfort instead of discipline. Those moments test your mental maturity, because a disciplined person does not believe every thought automatically. Not every thought deserves trust. Some thoughts are emotional reactions, not truth. Some thoughts come from fear, not reality. Some thoughts exist because your mind became conditioned through years of inconsistency, negativity, or self-doubt. That conditioning can be changed, but only through conscious discipline. A strong mind is built intentionally. Just like the body becomes stronger through repeated physical effort, the mind becomes stronger through repeated mental discipline. Every time you focus despite distractions, your concentration improves. Every time you stay calm during stress, your emotional control improves. Every time you continue despite doubt, your resilience improves. People often underestimate how much mental discipline affects success. A distracted mind struggles with consistency. A negative mind struggles with confidence. An emotionally reactive mind struggles with stability. But a disciplined mind creates clarity, patience, and direction. And direction matters because many people waste years moving emotionally instead of intentionally. One week they feel inspired. The next week they lose focus completely. One day they work hard. The next day they disappear into distractions. That inconsistency destroys momentum slowly. A disciplined mind creates consistency even during emotionally difficult seasons. Success eventually becomes part of your identity when disciplined behavior becomes natural instead of forced. When focus becomes your normal state. When responsibility becomes automatic. When effort becomes part of who you are instead of something you occasionally attempt. Many people live emotionally reactive lives because their mind controls them instead of the other way around. They react to every distraction, every opinion, every difficulty, every emotional impulse. Their attention becomes scattered because they never learned how to direct their mind intentionally. Attention is valuable, focus is valuable, mental clarity is valuable, and disciplined people protect those things carefully. You cannot build success while allowing your mind to become controlled by endless distractions and emotional chaos. Your environment influences your thinking more than you realize. The content you consume, the people around you, the conversations you entertain, all shape your mental condition daily. That is why disciplined people become selective with what enters their mind. They protect their energy. They avoid environments that weaken focus. They become intentional about what they listen to, think about, and spend time around. Because your mind absorbs repetition constantly. If you repeatedly consume negativity, your mindset becomes heavier. If you repeatedly surround yourself with lazy, undisciplined thinking, your standards slowly decrease. But if you repeatedly expose your mind to discipline, growth, and responsibility, your thinking becomes sharper, stronger, and more intentional. You must train your mind daily, not occasionally. Mental discipline requires repetition. Just like physical exercise strengthens the body, repeated disciplined thinking strengthens your mindset. That level of mental stability changes your entire emotional experience. You become calmer because you stop panicking emotionally. You become more productive because your attention becomes stronger. You become more confident because your mind stops constantly attacking your own potential. A disciplined mind also understands patience. Success rarely appears immediately. Growth often feels invisible for long periods. Many people quit because they expect instant results. But disciplined individuals stay committed long enough for progress to become. Patience creates endurance. Endurance creates results. There is something powerful about becoming mentally disciplined enough to continue improving quietly without needing constant validation from other people. Your confidence begins coming from your own standards instead of outside approval. You stop needing applause for every effort. You stop needing motivation for every task. You stop depending on emotional excitement to stay committed. That inner stability becomes one of your greatest strengths. And eventually success no longer feels like something far away. It becomes part of how you think, move, decide, and live daily. That transformation does not happen through luck. It happens through mental discipline repeated consistently over time. One disciplined thought may seem small, one focused decision may seem ordinary, one responsible habit may not appear life-changing immediately. But over time those repeated choices completely reshape your identity. You begin becoming someone who naturally handles responsibilities, someone who naturally stays focused longer, someone who naturally follows through consistently, someone who naturally protects their future through disciplined thinking and disciplined action. That is real success. Not temporary achievement, lasting internal transformation. Discipline your mind long enough, and success stops feeling unfamiliar. It becomes part of who you are. Chapter 8. Stop wasting your potential through comfort, laziness, and excuses. There is a painful truth many people avoid facing. A large number of people are not failing because they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity. They are failing because they became too comfortable, living below their potential. They slowly accepted habits, routines, and excuses that keep them mentally weak, emotionally distracted, and far away from the life they are capable of building. Comfort can quietly destroy ambition when it becomes your daily priority. At first it feels harmless. Sleeping longer feels harmless. Delaying responsibilities feels harmless. Avoiding difficult tasks feels harmless. Spending another evening distracted instead of improving yourself feels harmless. But repeated comfort slowly trains the mind to avoid growth, and eventually a person becomes emotionally dependent on easy living. That is dangerous, because growth requires effort, discipline, and discomfort. You cannot become mentally stronger while constantly protecting yourself from challenge. You cannot build a powerful future while choosing convenience every time responsibility appears. Many people say they want success, but their lifestyle says something completely different. Their actions reveal hesitation, laziness, inconsistency, and distraction. They dream about becoming stronger but avoid situations that require discipline. They speak about goals but refuse to create habits that support those goals daily. Potential means nothing without action. A person can have intelligence, creativity, talent, and opportunity, but still waste their life completely through laziness and excuses. And one of the saddest things a human being can experience is realizing they could have become so much more if they had simply pushed themselves harder earlier. There are people sitting quietly with frustration inside their hearts because they know they settled. They know they wasted time. They know they gave excuses too much power over their future. They know they kept choosing comfort while their goals slowly disappeared in front of them. Excuses feel comforting temporarily because they protect the ego from responsibility. It feels easier to blame circumstances, easier to blame timing, easier to blame lack of motivation, easier to say life is unfair, but excuses never improve reality. They only delay growth while time continues moving forward. A disciplined person learns how to stop negotiating with excuses. They stop asking whether they feel ready. They stop waiting for perfect emotional conditions. They understand that progress requires movement even during imperfect moments. There are mornings where your body feels tired, but your future still needs effort. There are evenings where distractions feel more attractive than discipline, but your goals still require focus. Those moments reveal whether you are serious about growth or simply addicted to temporary comfort. Comfort creates weak habits when it controls your decisions too often. A comfortable mind avoids pressure. A comfortable mind delays responsibility. A comfortable mind seeks entertainment before effort. Over time, that mindset slowly weakens discipline, confidence, and self-respect. You were not born to spend your life constantly escaping effort. Human beings feel most alive when they are growing, improving, and challenging themselves. Deep inside, people feel proud when they overcome resistance. They feel fulfilled when they become stronger. But laziness steals that feeling slowly. Laziness is not always physical. Sometimes it appears mentally. Avoiding difficult conversations, avoiding personal growth, avoiding emotional responsibility, avoiding important decisions. avoiding opportunities because fear feels stronger than discipline. And every avoided responsibility slowly lowers confidence. Think about how many people constantly complain about their lives while refusing to change their habits. They want different results without different behavior. They want progress without discomfort. But life does not work that way. Every meaningful improvement demands effort, consistency, and personal responsibility. There is no shortcut around discipline. Some people waste years waiting for motivation to rescue them. But motivation is temporary. It changes daily. Discipline matters because it keeps you moving when motivation disappears completely. Discipline carries you through ordinary difficult days where emotions feel weak, but responsibilities still matter. A lazy mindset creates emotional frustration over time because the mind knows when potential is being wasted. That frustration becomes heavy. It shows up as guilt, disappointment, stress, and low self-esteem. People often think they are unhappy because life is unfair, when many times they are unhappy because they stopped growing. Growth creates energy. Progress creates confidence. Responsibility creates self-respect. But excuses create emotional heaviness because excuses separate you from your own potential. There are people who secretly know exactly what they should be doing right now. They know they should study harder. They know they should work on their goals. They know they should improve their health. They know they should stop wasting hours on distractions. But they continue avoiding discipline because comfort feels easier today. The problem is comfort today often creates suffering tomorrow. You must become more afraid of wasted potential than temporary discomfort. Because discomfort passes, growth eventually becomes rewarding, but regret stays in the mind for years. There is something deeply painful about watching time disappear, while knowing you could have done more with your life. That feeling becomes heavier with age because opportunities change over time. Energy changes over time. Life moves quickly whether you discipline yourself or not. Many people think they have endless chances to change later. That my days become wasted casually. Weeks disappear carelessly. Years pass quietly. Then one day reality becomes impossible to ignore. The disciplined life they avoided earlier suddenly becomes necessary later. That is why personal responsibility matters now, not someday. You still have the ability to correct your habits, rebuild your mindset, and strengthen your discipline. But change requires honesty first. You must become honest about where laziness is controlling your behavior. Honest about where excuses are limiting your growth. Honest about where comfort is weakening your future. And honesty requires courage because the truth is uncomfortable sometimes. It hurts realizing you delayed your own progress. It hurts realizing distractions stole valuable time. It hurts realizing fear and comfort influenced important decisions. But pain can become powerful when it finally pushes you toward change. A person becomes dangerous in the best possible way when they stop tolerating weakness inside themselves. Not self-hatred, not perfection. Just higher standards, higher discipline, higher responsibility. That shift changes everything. You stop wasting entire days mindlessly. You stop protecting habits that damage your confidence. You stop treating your future carelessly. You begin respecting your potential more seriously. There is power in becoming someone who handles responsibilities without constant excuses. Someone who finishes difficult tasks instead of endlessly delaying them. Someone who stays committed even when comfort feels tempting. That type of discipline creates real confidence because your actions begin matching your goals. Many people want the emotional rewards of discipline without the effort discipline requires. They want confidence without consistency. They want peace without responsibility. They want successful lives while remaining emotionally attached to laziness. But life rewards disciplined behavior, not wishful thinking. You have too much potential to spend your years trapped inside excuses. There is more strength inside you than your current habits are allowing you to experience. But that strength only appears when you challenge yourself consistently. Sometimes growth begins with very simple changes. Waking up earlier, finishing tasks completely, spending less time distracted, exercising regularly, reading more, becoming more intentional with your time. Those habits may look small, but they rebuild discipline slowly, and discipline changes identity over time. You begin carrying yourself differently, your energy changes, your focus improves, your confidence becomes more stable because you stop constantly disappointing yourself. A person who respects their own potential behaves differently privately. They protect their mindset. They protect their future from distractions, laziness, and emotional excuses. That level of responsibility creates freedom eventually. Not immediate comfort. Real freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from wasted potential. Freedom from feeling controlled by laziness and distractions. You deserve a future built through discipline, not excuses. You deserve to experience the pride that comes from knowing you gave real effort toward your goals. You deserve to become someone stronger mentally, emotionally, and physically. But that transformation requires action daily, no more waiting endlessly. No more wasting years pretending tomorrow will automatically be different. No more hiding behind excuses that protect comfort while destroying progress. Your future deserves better from you, and deep inside you already know that. Chapter 9. Keep moving forward, even when your body feels completely tired. There will be seasons in life where your body feels exhausted before the day even fully begins. Your shoulders feel heavy, your mind feels slow, your energy feels drained from responsibilities, pressure, stress, and constant demands. During those moments, many people begin losing discipline because they believe progress only matters when they feel. But some of the most important moments in personal growth happen when you continue moving forward, despite exhaustion. Not because you ignore your health, not because you destroy yourself emotionally, but because you understand something powerful. Your future still depends on your consistency, even during difficult seasons. Life will not always give you perfect energy, perfect emotions, or perfect timing. There will be days where your body aches from long hours of days where your sleep feels incomplete. Days where your mind feels overwhelmed from responsibilities, problems, and emotional pressure. But disciplined people learn how to continue carrying responsibility with maturity instead of completely surrendering every time life becomes difficult. Most people stop too quickly. They stop the moment discomfort appears. They stop when progress becomes slower than expected. They stop when tiredness makes discipline feel inconvenient. But successful people understand that consistency during difficult moments creates strength most people never develop. There is a major difference between needing healthy rest and constantly making excuses through exhaustion. Your body absolutely deserves recovery care and balance, but many people use temporary tiredness as permission to completely abandon discipline for days, weeks, or months. That habit destroys momentum. Momentum matters because once you stop moving completely, it becomes emotionally harder to restart again. One lazy day easily becomes several. One delayed responsibility creates more pressure. One abandoned routine slowly weakens confidence and focus. A disciplined person learns how to adjust without quitting entirely. Maybe the energy is lower, maybe the pace is slower, but they continue showing up in some way because they understand that small, consistent effort still matters greatly. There are people who became mentally strong, not because life was easy for them, but because they kept moving during exhaustion. They handled responsibilities while emotionally overwhelmed. They worked toward goals while carrying stress privately. They kept their discipline alive while their energy felt low. Those moments changed them deeply, because strength is not only built through excitement and motivation. Strength is built when you continue honoring your responsibilities despite emotional and physical pressure. Many people believe they must feel powerful every day in order to succeed. That belief creates disappointment because no human being feels strong constantly. Some days you feel sharp, focused, and energetic. Other days your body feels completely drained. Discipline matters because it teaches you to stop depending entirely on emotional energy. Your future cannot wait for perfect moods every day. Think about how many responsibilities life requires from ordinary people. People wake up tired and still take care of family. People feel exhausted and still go to work. People carry emotional stress and still continue trying to improve their situation. Human beings are capable of far more resilience than they realize, but resilience must be trained. There are moments where your body will want comfort more than growth. Your mind will suggest avoiding responsibility. Your emotions will search for escape. During those moments, your discipline becomes extremely important, because your decisions during hard seasons shape your character more deeply than your decisions during easy seasons. Anybody can stay committed when life feels smooth, but the people who truly transform their lives are the ones who continue during difficult stretches where their body feels tired, but their purpose still matters. There is something powerful about refusing to completely collapse during hard times. Not pretending you feel amazing, not acting like pain does not exist. Real strength is staying responsible while acknowledging difficulty honestly. Some people become emotionally weak because they train themselves to stop every time discomfort appears. They never developed endurance. They never learned how to continue gradually through pressure. As a result, even ordinary challenges begin feeling impossible emotionally. But endurance changes everything. Endurance teaches you patience during difficult periods. It teaches you emotional stability when life becomes stressful. It teaches you how to move forward slowly without completely giving up on yourself. And sometimes moving slowly is still progress. Many people destroy their confidence because they believe progress only counts when performance feels perfect. That mindset creates frustration. Real growth includes difficult days, low energy moments, and exhausting seasons. It is about refusing to completely abandon yourself during hard moments. There are nights where your eyes feel heavy and your mind feels mentally exhausted, but you still choose to prepare for tomorrow responsibly. There are mornings where your body wants more sleep, but you still get up and handle important responsibilities. Those moments build deep self-respect because your actions begin proving that your future matters more than temporary comfort. The truth is, life becomes emotionally dangerous when exhaustion turns into hopelessness. Some people stop believing improvement is possible because they stayed tired too long without protecting their mindset properly. That is why mental discipline matters during exhausting seasons. You must protect your thoughts carefully when your energy feels low. Tiredness can distort perspective. It can make temporary struggles feel permanent. It can make progress feel invisible. It can make discipline feel pointless. But difficult seasons are temporary if you continue moving responsibly. One important lesson disciplined people learn is this: you do not always need maximum energy to make meaningful progress. Sometimes all you need is consistency. One focused hour, one completed responsibility, one disciplined decision. Those small efforts protect momentum during difficult periods, and momentum protects hope. When you continue taking action despite exhaustion, you remind yourself that progress is still possible. You remind yourself that difficult emotions do not completely control your future. You remind yourself that resilience exists inside you, even when your body feels tired. Many people secretly admire disciplined individuals because disciplined people create stability during unstable moments. They continue moving when others completely surrender. They continue improving while carrying pressure quietly. That level of emotional endurance becomes inspiring because it reflects real inner strength. You must understand that life will never remove every obstacle before asking you to grow. Sometimes you will need to improve while tired. Sometimes you will need to heal while carrying responsibility. Sometimes you will need to continue building your future during emotionally heavy seasons. That reality is difficult but also powerful because it proves you are capable of more than comfort taught you to believe. There are people who built incredible lives while experiencing stress, uncertainty, exhaustion, and setbacks repeatedly. They succeeded not because conditions were perfect, but because they refused to stop completely. That mindset matters deeply. Stopping permanently creates regret. Continuing slowly creates growth. And growth creates emotional strength over time. A disciplined life is not built through occasional bursts of energy. It is built through repeated effort across ordinary difficult days, across mornings where your body feels weak, across evenings where your motivation disappears, across stressful periods where progress feels slower than expected. Every time you continue responsibly during exhaustion, your identity changes. You stop seeing yourself as emotionally fragile. You begin seeing yourself as dependable, resilient, and capable of handling pressure maturely. That shift creates confidence no motivational speech can give you, because confidence built through endurance feels real. It comes from evidence. Evidence that you can continue through difficult moments without abandoning your future. And eventually you stop fearing hard seasons as much because you trust your ability to survive them responsibly. You stop panicking every time life becomes heavy because you already proved to yourself that exhaustion does not automatically mean defeat. There is dignity in continuing. Dignity in showing up tired but responsible. Dignity in carrying yourself with discipline during emotionally difficult seasons. Dignity in refusing to completely waste your future just because life became exhausting temporarily. Your body may feel tired sometimes, but your purpose still matters. Your goals still matter. Your future still matters. Rest when necessary, recover wisely, protect your health seriously, but never allow temporary exhaustion to convince you that giving up completely is the answer. Keep moving forward even if progress feels slower some days. Keep protecting your future even when your energy feels limited. Keep believing improvement is possible even during exhausting seasons, because some of the strongest people in the world are not the ones who never felt tired. They are the ones who kept moving despite it. Chapter 10. Change your entire life by mastering yourself every single day. Your life changes the moment you stop trying to control everything around you and finally begin controlling yourself. That is where real power begins. Not in forcing other people to understand you, not in waiting for perfect situations, not in blaming the world for every struggle. Real transformation begins when you master your own habits, your own thoughts, your own emotions, and your own behavior every single day. Many people spend years trying to improve their external life while completely ignoring their internal discipline. They want more money but cannot manage their time properly. They want healthier relationships but cannot control their reactions. They want success but avoid consistency. They want peace but continue feeding chaos inside their own mind daily. You cannot create a better life while remaining controlled by weak habits, emotional impulses, and careless behavior. Mastering yourself is the foundation of everything meaningful, because every decision, every action, and every result first passes through your mindset. There are people who look successful from the outside, but internally, they still lack control. They are distracted, emotionally reactive, inconsistent, and mentally exhausted. That kind of success never creates real fulfillment, because external achievements cannot replace internal discipline. A person who masters themselves develops something extremely valuable: stability, stability in thinking, stability in behavior, stability in decision-making. They stop reacting to every emotion. They stop collapsing during pressure. They stop wasting energy on distractions that add nothing to their future. That kind of discipline changes life completely. Self-mastery begins with awareness. Awareness of how you spend your time, awareness of how you speak to yourself, awareness of what habits are shaping your future quietly, awareness of how emotions influence your decisions daily. Most people live without this awareness. They move through life automatically repeating the same patterns, without questioning whether those patterns are helping or hurting them. Then years pass, and they wonder why nothing changed. Your daily behavior always creates your future eventually. Every repeated thought shapes your mindset. Every repeated action shapes your character. Every repeated habit shapes your identity. That is why mastering yourself daily matters so much. Small disciplined choices repeated consistently create massive internal transformation over time. There are moments where your emotions will tempt you toward laziness, anger, distraction, or avoidance. In those moments, self-mastery means pausing before reacting automatically. It means choosing what is right instead of choosing what feels easiest emotionally. That ability separates disciplined people from emotionally controlled people. Emotionally controlled people constantly chase temporary feelings. If they feel motivated, they work hard. If they feel tired, they stop completely. If they feel stressed, they avoid responsibility. Their life becomes unstable because their emotions constantly decide their behavior. But disciplined individuals develop emotional leadership over themselves. They acknowledge feelings without surrendering completely to them. They stay responsible during difficult moments. They continue improving even during emotionally uncomfortable seasons. That creates strength. And strength built through self-mastery affects every area of life. Your health improves when you master your habits. Your confidence improves when you master your discipline. Your relationships improve when you master your reactions. Your future improves when you master your time, attention, and focus. Everything changes when you become more intentional with yourself daily. Many people want dramatic transformation immediately. But real change usually happens quietly through ordinary disciplined decisions, repeated over long periods of time, waking up earlier, keeping promises to yourself, staying focused longer, managing emotions better, spending time wisely, speaking more carefully, protecting your energy from negativity and distractions. Those small decisions slowly rebuild a person from the inside. And eventually, you begin noticing the difference emotionally. Your mind feels clearer. Your confidence becomes more stable. Your stress decreases because your life gains more structure. You stop feeling controlled by chaos because discipline creates direction. There is something deeply peaceful about becoming someone who can trust themselves. Someone who follows through consistently, someone who handles responsibilities maturely, someone who remains focused during difficult situations. That peace cannot be purchased. It must be earned through self-mastery. Undisciplined behavior creates stress slowly. Missed responsibilities create pressure. Poor habits create frustration. Emotional reactions create conflict. Wasted time creates regret. But disciplined behavior creates stability because your life becomes more intentional. You begin realizing that mastering yourself is not punishment. It is protection. Protection for your future, protection for your peace, protection for your goals and potential. There are people who feel trapped, not because life gave them no opportunities, but because they never learned how to control themselves consistently. They became controlled by distractions, controlled by laziness, controlled by emotional reactions, controlled by excuses. Freedom begins when discipline becomes stronger than those patterns. That is why self-mastery must become daily, not occasional. One productive day changes very little. One focused week changes very little. Real transformation happens when discipline becomes part of your identity permanently. And identity changes through repetition. Every day you either strengthen discipline or strengthen weakness. Every day you either move closer toward your potential or further away from it. Your future is always responding to your repeated behavior, whether you notice it immediately or not. There is a version of yourself you are capable of becoming that would completely change your life. A calmer version, a more focused version, a stronger version, a more disciplined, but that version only appears when you begin mastering yourself consistently. You must stop underestimating the power of daily behavior. Daily habits create lifelong results. Daily thinking creates emotional patterns. Daily decisions shape your entire direction. There are moments where mastering yourself means staying quiet instead of reacting emotionally. Moments where it means focusing on work instead of distractions. Moments where it means choosing growth instead of comfort. Moments where it means remaining disciplined even when nobody is watching. Those private decisions shape your character deeply. Character matters because eventually life tests everyone. Pressure reveals discipline, stress reveals emotional control, difficult seasons reveal maturity. During those moments, self-mastery becomes extremely valuable because disciplined people remain steadier under pressure. And inner strength changes how you experience life itself. You stop fearing challenges as much because you trust your ability to handle them. You stop needing constant validation because your confidence comes from your own discipline. You stop feeling lost because your actions finally align with your goals. That alignment creates peace internally. There is no greater feeling than knowing your life is moving in the right direction because your behavior supports your future consistently. That feeling creates hope, energy, and confidence naturally. But remember this clearly, self-mastery is not about becoming perfect. Perfection is impossible. There will still be mistakes. There will still be moments where discipline feels challenging. But disciplined people recover faster because they refuse to completely abandon themselves after setbacks. They keep correcting themselves, keep learning, keep improving. That mindset creates lifelong growth. Your future depends far more on your daily discipline than on occasional motivation. Motivation fades quickly. Discipline remains when emotions change. Discipline keeps your life moving forward steadily. Master yourself daily, and eventually your standards rise naturally. You stop accepting weak behavior from yourself. You stop wasting time carelessly. You stop feeding habits that damage your future. You become more intentional because your life finally matters deeply to you. And when your life matters deeply to you, discipline no longer feels like punishment. It becomes self-respect. The beautiful thing about self-mastery is that nobody can take it away from you, once it becomes part of who you are. External situations may change, life may become difficult unexpectedly, but disciplined people carry inner stability with them because they train themselves daily. That stability becomes your superpower. Change your life by mastering yourself consistently. Not for 1 week, not only when motivation feels strong every single day. Because eventually your habits become your identity, and your identity becomes your destiny.